Hello and welcome to episode 53 of my Working with Evernote series. Hello and welcome to episode 53 of Working with Evernote, and in this week's episode I want to talk to you about keeping Evernote simple, because one of the things I've noticed as I've gone around about YouTube looking at other people's setup of Evernote and indeed some of the comments that I'm getting on the in the comments section on Evernote is that some people seem to be overcomplicating Evernote. Now, when you start to overcomplicate Evernote, or indeed anything, that's when complexity sets in. And once complexity sets in, that's when things start going wrong. That's when you have difficulty finding things. That's when you just dump stuff in Evernote and then it just stays there forever and ever and ever because you can't find it when you don't know how to retrieve it. So what I want to do is I want to go into today in how you can keep your Evernote setup simple. Now, as I keep telling everybody in all my episodes, you've got to set this up so that it works for yourself. And I know that not everybody likes to see things in a simple binary way, but really, the way that Evernote's going to work best for you is if you keep it as simple as you possibly can. So I'm just going to go through one or two little tips that you can use to keep Evernote simple. And you should always have in mind when you are using Evernote is you should always have in mind the fact that you're going to need to retrieve these notes at some point in the future, because why else would you keep them in Evernote? If you're never going to look at them again, you may as well never put them in there in the first place. So let's get straight into this and let me go through a few tips that you can use that's going to help you to keep Evernote simple. Okay, let's get straight into it. Okay, so here we are in Evernote, and what I want to do now is just to show you how I have mine set up, because essentially what I find is a lot of people are asking about how they can do hold all their projects and hold everything else. Now, I've gone through this many times before. My notebook section looks more complicated than it really is. Some of these are just little simple things, but my two main notebooks, as you can see here, is my general reference work, where I have 612 notes, my general reference personal, which has 1,882. Now, the thing is, it doesn't really matter how many I have of these. These are archives, by the way. This really doesn't matter. What matters to me is actually this part here. Now, if I show all notes, all my notes are in here. And if you look at it, it's just really quite complicated. But that doesn't worry me in the slightest, because for me, the key with my notes is this section here. Now, in episodes, I can't remember, but in some of the earlier episodes, I gave you simple searches and advanced searches. Now, one of the great things about Evernote is essentially all my recent searches are done here. So I was looking for GTD workbook, and sure enough, it's there. This is from when David Allen visited Seoul, and I did the course with him. The original GTD notebook, this is from a long time ago. This is probably before the book was written. This was David Allen's workbook. I also have my Pi workbook, which is presenting English workbook. But the thing here is, what you're looking for when you do this is you search all notes, my notes, you can search anything you like. Now, as most of you know, I love James Bond, but let's just say, I remember about 2 years ago, I started collecting information on Ibiza because I love Ibiza. So I've got Ibiza here, and I can see all sorts of things from here. Now, there's a lot of stuff here that has related to Live and Direct. Oh yes. Oh, one of my favorite guys, Carl Cox. But all my stuff on Ibiza is here. and we've got all sorts of, I've collected all sorts of things in here. A lot of them are pictures as well from people in studio time, because I find the DJs are really quite quite inspiring about their creativity and so on. But a lot of the stuff I can collect in here is just related to Ibiza, and I don't actually have the vacations in Ibiza, so that's quite interesting. Let's go on to another search that I can collect in next London, because I don't visit the UK very often, but I do keep quite a lot of stuff in here. Like if I ever go to London, I might want to buy an umbrella, so I have an umbrella in there. London, that was crazy. This is pictures from this will be in Axwell and Ingrosso, rare sighting of Ian Fleming. You see, all these things that I really want to have a look at next time I'm in London, I've just collected everything in here, and it's really quite amazing what you can just collect and just find from the search. So when you are collecting stuff into Evernote, what you want to be thinking about is, how am I going to retrieve that information? So I can type in review, and I've got all sorts of personal reviews. I've got personal reviews in here. So I've got my Nike review from 2015. So in that particular time, I ran for 118 hours in that year. January, February, March, April, May. Obviously something went wrong in May, and did a lot of running in June, July, August, September. And I keep stuff in here related to this. So if I can put in another one is, let's just go into, clear that search. I'm going to search for Nike and year of Nike. What have I got in there? This is another one. This is from my 2014. 2014, 116 runs. So I've kept a lot of my information that I actually keep in here from. So basically what you're doing is you are collecting notes that you want to retrieve or you want to look at some later stage. So the key is to keep everything as simple as possible. You don't have to use tags, or you don't have to use notebooks. You do at least have one notebook. But really just keep yourself thinking about how can you keep it simple, because that is going to be the best way for you to get the most out of Evernote. Too much complication and it's just not going to work for you. So try to keep everything as simple as you possibly can, and that way you'll get far more out of Evernote than anything else. One final point while saying keeping things simple. I saw a comment in one of my Evernote videos this week where somebody said that the new iOS update is terrible for keeping track of tags, and he's absolutely right. Tags, or looking for tags in the new iOS update, is not that easy. What I suggest you do if you do use tags a lot is put the tags that you use most, like I've got work word of the day in here. Put it into your shortcuts, because you do have the shortcut button at the bottom of your on the dock of the new iOS update. Anyway, I think I've spoken enough for today, so have a very, very productive week, and I will see you in the next episode.